Hey, this is Srinivas Tamada, founder of 9lesson.info. This video is about continuation of my previous article, Ionic and Angular series. And last time we stopped for the sign up and login with the RESTful API, and we covered guards and the resolvers for the new Ionic. And the same way we are storing the user ID and the token in the application level. So using that, today we are going to display the feed. Basically, this is right now, this app is connected with the live. You can try with Srinivas and 123456 is the password. Once you log in, and you will see the feed like this, and that's what we're going to implement today. And you can update with the live API, and if you want, you can delete, you can show kind of alert here, and if you want, you can delete it. The same way you can delete the latest one too. And we are actually working with some of the timestamps and the time ago as well. All of these things we're going to cover with the application. So, and this is actually reactive way of writing, that's called RxJS. We implemented this uh, when you do to do kind of list. So RxJS is basically by default it's coming with Ionic 1, and you don't need to install anything, you just simply import RxJS methods. And I'm maintaining different parts here. Now we stopped at the part 2, so I'm going to start with part 2. With 3 already committed. If you want, you can directly jump there. And the master is always updated with the latest one. So I'm just going to my folder, and this is the one, and get branch. If you look at my branch is like part 2, you can simply start that npm run start, and or else you can give Ionic serve. In the same way, we have a mock server and cd server.js. Node server.js. So this is running the mock, and if you look at my previous list of article, this is what about mock. How you're going to develop the application in the dev mode so that it will save a lot of time. Yeah, now the project started at 8100 port, and you will see that output like this, and you can try with the mock username and password, and you will see the screen like this. So right now we're going to work on the feed page. We're going to display update box here, and we're going to display the feeds with a delete option here. So let's quickly go to the project, and let's open the project with the Visual Code. So we are going to work with the feed page here, and this is the HTML. And so for this feed, we need to make a service call. So I'm going to create a feed service first. You can just Ionic generate service and services. I'm maintaining all the services here in this location. If you see here, there is a services folder, and here new feed service got generated here. So we are going to write the API connections here. So first one is to getting the feed. So this is basically we need to pass some data, basically the feed data. You need a token and the, so this is going to be an observable method, and I already explained this. And then it's going to return this dot http service and dot post. So we need to import this in the constructor, and it's private. So I'll make a small letter here, and this is the API we're going to call. So this is the feed, and I'll add the PHP API here. You will see that. Now if you look at the server, and there is a server.js, and there is a feed, we are actually downloading the feed data here. So this is what the feed data looks like. This is not a meaningful data. Let me take it from some meaningful data here, for more understanding. Let's go to the raw, And if you look at that, I'm just giving message 1 2 3 4 5 6 with different codes, so that when I delete something you'll understand more. But the live API is different. So once you updated the mock, you just cut the server and restart the mock server again. Yep, now service is ready. Come back to the feed page. We have to get the feed data call here. So this is called feed data call. And in this feed data, we are going to call it when the page loads. This is the, so let me give some console log. I'll see how feed API here. So let's run the project here. I'll quickly show once we come to this page. So this is what it's triggering here. This part we're going to write all of the API connections here. So let's import the feed service here, like private and feed service. So this is come from the services folder and it's called feed service. And this API need user ID and the token. And if you look at this API, and you'll understand how the feed works. And if you look at this API, there is an index.php, and I have an article as well. So this basically is a simple queries to get the data from the database, and it actually exposing into the APIs and based on the user ID and the token. So that's the reason we need to pass the user ID and password here. So that's what I'm going to create a small post data. We need to construct an object like user ID. So right now it is empty, and token. Yes, this post data we're going to pass to this one. So that is how you can access the feed. So why we are maintaining a feed service here? Because all the delete actions, all the API methods, we're going to maintain it here. This is about the page one. So don't confuse, this is a feed data and this is a feed. And if you want, you can just change it to this get feed data. So that way there is no confusion. So I'm just changing this here. And now, so if you look at this here, you'll get the login user data here. So you get this information from the session storage the same way Ionic has the SQLite storage. From there you can get it. So now here I'm just constructing the post data with user ID equal to the auth user and then UID for the token. So this is dynamically generating the token from the backend service. So let me print this. This is actually coming or not, we'll see. This dot post data, and make sure call this thing inside the promise, because once you got subscribed only we need to make a call, otherwise you will get this empty data. Let's save this and let's see what kind of output we'll get it here now. So if you look at this, there is a token information coming. It's something wrong with user ID. I think maybe this is user ID here. Yep, now things are good. Now we are actually making the endpoint calls, and if you want you can simply check that this dot post data for user ID to validate, else you have to say some loading option. You're just waiting for the user ID and password. Sometime it may take time. So this dot feed service here, I'm making a call feed data, and this one need a post data. So then I'm just subscribing it. So there is a response comes from this. This is going to be any, because we don't know the actual data, what exactly that thing is coming. And now, so I'm just console log first and see response dot feed data. So that is the one, like if you go to the feed data.json. So this is the feed data I'm pointing. And the same way, like you have to maintain the error. you'll get kind of network errors sometime if the API is not responding. This dot, we have a toast service, so import the toast service here. Just displaying the toast service dot present toast, and then I'm just specifying that network issue. So let's save this and let's see what exactly happening. I missed the comma here. So once I log in, I'm able to see the data here. If you look at here, there's a console log, so the same information we need to present it here. So this is what right now we have the data. So now we need to display here first this feed. So for that reason, I'm going to create a component to maintain. It's kind of a web component. So Ionic generate component, and there is a components folder. Then I'm going to call it as feed. So now the component has been generated. So this is the component, and now I'm trying to, this is the component we actually connected with all of the pages. Anyway, we can cross verify it. Let's import this feed card here. So the feed card component, the same way I'm actually exporting as well to so now come back. So we are going to work with a feed page. Now go to the feed page. There is a feed module will be here. You make sure you are actually imported the components module. So this is the components module. It has all the components. So now feed can access all of those. Now come back to the page. Let's display the app and the feed card. So if you look at the feed card component, you will see this is what the tag name. So I directly displayed it here. I'm now accessing it here, and right now it is displaying here. We need to modify this little bit because it's a p tag, but we are working with Ionic, so I'm going to change this to the Ion card. So you'll go to the Ionic UI components, you'll find this. I'm just giving Ion. So here I'm going to give feed content and make sure we need to import outside the item. So that's what we're getting it here. So let's save it. And now if you look at this, this is the page, and we are making the call here and we are getting the data here, but this component is completely different. So here we are going to loop the data and to access the data here, because there are multiple ways to distribute the data between the components. Because this is the feed page, instead you can directly pass the data here, like this response data, to assign it to some public variable and pass it. Instead, like, I'm going to use it in a reactive way, so that is more promising and more fast. I'm going to create a small behavior subject reactive object. It's called, I'm going to call it as feed data. So I'm going to specify a dollar symbol so that you can understand that this is a behavior subject. Behavior subject is a kind of a reactive method. So here this is actually a reactive object. So right now this feed data is an empty object now. So whenever you want to change this, I'm going to write change feed data. You may get new data here. So whenever you want to update this, you can take the new data here and update it like this, dot feed data dollar, and then next, and with the new data it simply updates this one whenever you want. So whenever you want, you can just call this and update it. For deleting, updating, we're going to play with this now. Let's close this, and now back to the server, and now this is the response. This response we need to update it like this, dot feed service dot change feed data, which means like, so now new data is coming. This is right now empty, it's updating with this. So rest dot feed data. Now whatever information is there, it got, you can access with this behavior subject. Now come to the feed page. So now you can directly access that, and now we're going to make the call. So for this we need a, because this has that behavior object value, So now this dot feed service, I need the data, like, so this is what the $1, and I'm going to subscribe. So subscribe, whenever the response updates, it's automatically pulls it. And now I'm going to create a small public data. It's called this dot feed data equal to, pretty straightforward, we are storing here, so we we don't have any object here. So now entire data came here. Now go to the feed HTML. This is what I'm going to write, ng4 and equal to let feed of feed data, and I'm just going to get the index as well, because for this is important for deleting the values. So now you have entire feed here. Let's print the, for these things you go refer it. So this is the object, so that value dot feed, and if you want to username, feed dot user id dot fk. So now feed dot feed, instead of binding here, like, because you may get script tags, so in our HTML, so this is the best way to filter all the script tags. So feed dot, for binding the elements with the HTML. So let's save it. What will happen is it's come to the feed page, it's come to the HTML, and it makes the actual API call, and it stores in the behavior subject, and this card is going to accessing it from the behavior subject by subscribing this value. So let's save it, and now if you refresh it, and you will see quickly, once the page got, the call is going to happen, and immediately feed data got displayed. Now let's work with the delete option here. Whenever you make a call, it's going to the delete call, and if you look at this feed endpoint, you will see the token ID and user ID. This token ID is actually validating with this backend PHP API as well, so it should match. When you log in, it's going to generate its store in the. So let's work with the delete. So for that, we need a alert option whenever you want to delete. So there is a, go to the Ionic framework, you will find a lot of components here. So we're going to implement this kind of alert. So we need like Ionic alert confirmation for deleting anything. So for that reason, I'm going to use the present alert confirmation to show OK and cancel to delete the feed. So instead of writing in everywhere, you can create a service so that the service, anyone can use it in the application, I mean any of the pages. Let's quickly go and create the alert service. So I need generate services, and the services, I'm going to create alert. So we can copy paste these things. So I'm just creating that way. And if you look at this, I just imported, I'm changing that present alert confirmation, what they provided here. I'm just passing to message and the header and the message, because this is dynamically changing, so that you can use this alert confirmation with these options wherever you want, and you can specify. And but I'm added one more option here, like we need to know user, what exactly user clicked it. That information is not there here. So when user clicks it, you will get the choice of the button, so that's the role. So whenever user clicks it, you'll get that choice and returns back with cancel or OK based on that status, like you can proceed or not, like that's what you can do it. Try to use that on dismiss, so that will help you. And now back to the delete action. So let's go to the feed card now. So this is what the feed card, we're going to introduce a small delete option here, but meanwhile we need to update the server.js. And for that, like if you go to my server.js, and this one you need like two kind of things. One is you have to update your API, and the same you have to update the mock. So if you look at this, I'm creating two things here. One is feed update. We don't need to maintain anything JSON here because this dynamically I'm updating it here. We need a data directly coming from the request body and presenting here. And by default, I'm setting the user ID here for any of them. And the created, I'm just creating a timestamp here. The same response I'm getting from the PHP as well. And if you come to the delete, there is a mock delete status, and we need to create a small confirmation like feed delete JSON, and the same way go to the mock and you have to add the in the feed delete. You don't need to maintain that extension. So let's go back to my server and you will see I added a default mock delete status here, so you just maintain it. This one basically, once you got this message, and you can just completely delete that. Now back to the feed card, I'm going to write a small method called the feed delete action, right? And back to the feed server, I mean feed service.js, like it's called. The same thing, this is also you need some of the post data, kind of user ID token, and what kind of feed you're deleting, I mean the feed ID, and this is called feed delete. And now come to the card, this is called action. This action is connected with a small button here. I'm just going to give a button, and then I'm going to present like small icon called icon, and the name. And now this is the button, so let's give a click action here. This is called web accessibility, and instead of button you can directly give here, but there is a small icon it is displaying here, so you can just adjust like little class. I'm just giving right, and go to the feed card and just give you add it here. And the same way, if you want, you can add the font size as well for this, like font size like 20px, so that you'll see a little more bigger icon. So I just moved it to right. You can adjust in a little better way, and you'll see the little big icon now, and you can adjust it like the icon is displaying. This is the action, and dot delete feed, and this dot post data. So right now we don't have any post data, so let's give post data. What kind of information you're passing? This one you need user ID and the feed ID, for example. Yes, and now so this dot will get this, what kind of feed ID we are getting it. This dot post data dot user ID. So we need to get the user ID and the token. So instead of getting it every time, so let's go to the feed page, and here anyway we are getting this. So this is called auth user. So what I'm going to do is, there is a feed card. I'm going to create a new input attribute called login user. This one I'm passing it here. Now come to the feed card page, and you can access that input like using like input and then login user. So now you can access that login user dot user ID. Before connecting this, let's give a console log and see this action is performing or not. And let's import this input. Let's save it. You can get the feed ID from the loop, so I'm just giving the feed dot feed ID here. In the same way, I'm passing the I as well. This is called object index, so I'm calling it as like feed index. This is going to be number always. And let's save it and see what exactly it's coming, and you just assign that feed ID. Let's make an action. I think nothing is happening, and if If you look at this, I think the iron card is overlapping the button here. So instead of that, we can move this inside the content, and then we can display this piece inside the p tag so that there is no conflict come. I guess let's save it now. Make sure when you work with Ionic component, should properly maintain the structure. Yep, now if you see, little margin also got changed, and now I just clicked on the action and getting the feed ID 853 and the token and the user ID, but here I get the different one. So that way we are actually sending to the backend now. And before that, like, we implemented the alert option. So let's go to the feed, and I'm going to import the alert option like private. And now then this is going to be like this dot alert, present alert confirmation. You can just give that delete. It's called message, and then this is a promise, and then you can give a response because we implemented that with async and await. Let's show you quickly. This is async and await, so this is going to be a promise again, so you have to access that with dot then and the inning. Let's display the response dot role. I told you that what kind of and once you click it, there is, are you sure you want to, and if I click OK, the OK coming, and if I give cancel, the cancel coming. But whenever you get the OK, you have to proceed. So I'm just giving directly the status this, and this is called the role OK and the cancel. It's getting it from here. And now this is going to be triple equal to OK, or you can just return true or false as well. That is more better, and make sure that methods are supporting or not. And here we are actually making a feed service call. So instead of that, like, you know, make feed delete. So I'm going to maintain a different function here. This actually need a post data. So this is actually making the this dot feed service dot, let's make this as a feed delete, so that, and I'm going to write one more. This is called feed delete, and this need actually post, and then this is again you'll get the response any. And now if response dot success, I mean, why this is success, because of the feed delete. I'm just checking the success here. If it is a fail, you just change the status in a different way. So this is going to be any. So now we are going to get the call here, this dot make feed delete, and this is going to be post data. Now hope you got it, because I don't want to copy paste it here, a lot of loops here. So now actually we are this is actually server got deleted, but we need to play with the inside this object. It got updated with the latest feed, but from the same feed we are actually dropping it off. Create a small function called delete feed data. So this is feed data from the API. This is feed delete feed data is actually deleting from this object. So this is a simple thing. This is we need to drop off the particular object from this array. So for that, I'm going to create a new array. So that's called new data set. And now let current data equal to this dot. Okay, let me get the current feed data. So you can just call this like this dot feed data dot get value. So this give you the what is exactly right now it is there in this object got stored, that you will get it, or you can directly call this as well. I just want to maintain this in a different functional based. So this dot get current feed data. So now I got the get current feed data, and now this one I need a message index from the, I'm just getting it from the, when you user click on the action. Now I'm just going to take this current feed data dot splice and the message index and from the object, and now let's create a new it is going to be data, and this is the data dot concatenate with current feed data, because we cannot reuse this and directly put it because it will not change basically. And now I'm going to update that, hey, I deleted from this and I'm putting into a new object, and then that one I'm just storing into that new feed here, I mean new updated feed. So now save it. Now this one, come to this cart. So we got the successful call, we need to update the object. So this dot feed dot delete feed data from the message index. So this message index is coming from here, this number, so that you can directly access it from here. So this is called feed index. I'm just calling wrongly. Yes, I think we can just specify that feed index here so that no confusion. Let's clear everything. I'm just making a call. I'm making OK. Then feed delete option. So right now it's giving 404. Let's go back and restart it because I haven't restarted the server. And now let's make a call now. OK. And if you see now it is 200. I'm sending something and feed got deleted, and the same way message 2 got deleted. Let's delete the message 5 and OK, 5 got deleted. If you give cancel, nothing going to happen. So that's what, so it's pretty fast way this object is, you know, updating, because this object is working with reactive way. And once you refresh, you will get it back, because anyway this is working with a mock. If you work with a real one, I think the real one is, I hosted it like mango 9s.info. You will see actual endpoint call will happen here. See, this is what the actual endpoint call. If you see, I hosted my RESTful API here to make the. Now let's work with update here. So if you want, you can keep it on the card, but this is, update is completely a new component, so that way you can manage this project in a, but update is completely a new web component. So let's create a new web component like Ionic and the feed update. So this is going to generate a component under the components folder, feed update component. I'm just exporting that to everyone, and let's keep that app.feed update on top of the feed. Yes, here actually it's coming. Now back, last time we confused so much, so instead, like, first we'll work on the service completely, then we'll go to the same way I'm going to update it. So this is called feed update. My endpoint for that is, so this is what my rest, same way like delete, I'm going to update the feed data. I'm going to call update feed data. This is a behavior subject one. Here you always get the new, so that will be any, because we are going to push that new data inside the existing current object. So the same way I'm going to get the current object, and now data dot push the new feed. So here in the empty object I'm just pushing, and let's let new updated feed equal to, this is what the data, so this data will be the, because we pushed it, it will be on the top always. So then you're going to use concat, so joining with the current feed, change feed data, and update the behavior subject with the new one. And this we need to access in the same way feed.html. So how we are sending the log user information, you can send it here, or else you can maintain this user data service and then you can access it from there. But right now, feed update action, this is going to connect with the HTML and you're going to create a post data and the any, and the feed, what is the actual message here. And once you make the action, you have to, so now go to the HTML and just going to create ion item, and there is a ion test area. I'm going to create one more item. So instead of the text area, I'm just going to give ion button. And now we need to bind that object, like the post data feed ng model. It's a two-way binding, post data dot feed. And if you want, you can give some kind of, yep, something came up here like feed. Let's click the update button. If you see, my post data will be feed is update the feed and the ID. Now actually we need to make a network call to update the, this is API call, this dot post data we're passing. You will get response dot feed data, feed update, and if you look at the preview, I typed something here, the same response you'll get it back from the API, like means, which means it got inserted properly and came back, or else you'll get error message. But once I update, we need to clear it off this as well. So once it is success, like this dot post data dot feed will be empty, and if you want, you can just give focus all the stuff here. And now the actual thing comes, we are going to update the feed data. So this is called update feed data with the new one, and then pass that response.feed data here. This is what the new data is coming from the API. It's clear, and say hello, update. See, the message came quickly here. In the same way, the backend also gave the proper response. And if you want, you can delete something, the same way delete. And if you refresh it, and you will see the pattern of the API calls. First it makes the feed, and then it updates the reactive object, and then you can see that actions here. So this way you can distribute the data between, like, you can make a common storage component, the storage object, using RxJS. And if you look at my feed, I'm just getting some created, what time it got created, whenever you push to the backend. So let's work with a small plugin, how you're going to do it, like time ago pipe, for example. You will find a lot of plugins like this, and you will get this kind of output if you pass the Unix timestamp. The plugin got updated, but if you see here, there is some vulnerabilities here. Instead of to solving these kind of problem, you can give npm audit fix, which means some of our plugins got outdated. So this automatically check the latest. And yeah, we installed this plugin, and now you can access anything from this, because this is a common thing for everyone. So I'm going to declare it here as a pipe. One more web component, because time ago you need it for many things, like right now it is a feed. Maybe the same time ago you need to display it for messages, private messages, and chatting, all the stuff. So if you, when you create a web component, that will be more useful. So Ionic generate, so that got created here. The same way it should import. Now let's work with this. So this is going to be, for example, I'm giving div. So basically the new date comes from the input. So let's go to the card here, and after the feed I'm going to display the app, because this is a loop, and then so this loop, it automatically adds to this. Here it is actually displaying that. So now this one, need a created date, so created equal to the feed dot created. If you see the feed data component, this is created, it is on the Unix timestamp, so you can exactly follow the same pattern for the backend API and the front end. So I'm just passing it here, but some reason time ago will not understand the Unix pattern, Unix timestamp pattern. Let's come here, and then this is going to be input, and I'm just going to convert time, and I'm going to create a new time, new date, because we need to change this into a date format. So now I'm going to use this, play what exactly coming, and then we'll apply the pipe. I mean, we need to assign this to the new date. So because this is a Unix time and we're changing into the date, so let's see now. Yeah, we see here that timestamp I converted into the date way, and now let's apply the, so I think this is the pipe. If you look at that, everything got changed, and let's apply time ago. If you look at that few seconds ago, and even if you wait for some time, you'll see that change as well here. I mean, like, it automatically changes, like, so if you look at it, this got changed automatically like a minute ago. So this one also got changed, and that's it for now. And you can, so this is what the command, so that basically once the Ionic build is ready, you will find the www folder. It has all the production iOS copy, and you can update the existing iOS application. If you didn't find this, if you did not find this, you try to add iOS add, and that way it will take. If not, like, you can just update the project and then give iOS open, and you will see the Xcode, and launch the application, and make sure see the bundle everything, and you log in with your development team, and then just launch the product. Choose whatever you want here. There are different type of simulators here, and if you want, you can connect your personal mobile as well. And if you want to inspect something, like you can inspect the memory as well here, how much memory it is consuming, and the network calls you can see here. So what is actually happening in the when you launch the application. See, when you delete it, if you want, you can give some more logs to see it. See, you can see the information, what is exactly storing as well. You can track all of the information here. If you give more, if you see the what kind of response is going and how it is exactly happening, you can track it here. So that is it. Yeah, that's it for now, and let me know if you need anything exactly looking. And thank you. Thanks a lot for watching my videos.